We should be live. Hello. If you can hear us, if you can see us, please let me know. It looks like, from what I'm looking at, that this it's not showing anything. Can you hear anything? There shouldn't be any music anyway. I've not enabled the music because I've not checked the audio levels. I haven't had time. Can you see us? And you can see us and everything because I can't see us on the. Alrighty. Oh, I can see us now. Okay. Technical difficulties. We wanted to start a little bit earlier, but yeah, it is what it is, and thankfully we've got it working again. So, this is a special episode of Household for our campaign, and the reason we decided to live stream it is we were going to get together anyway and do this as a mini session. The book recommends that you have something called a a historian's debate between or after every chapter. And since we finished chapter 1 and we're moving into chapter 2, this is the first of those. You're meant to be having a first of these as a mini session before we move on to session 2. As a result of that, we're going to be discussing everything that happened in chapter 1. So I can see there being two different types of audience that might be interested in this video. The first are people who have been following the campaign so far, and they're interested in seeing, how the players are going to advance their characters. The second group of people might be people who are interested in learning how Household works. You might have found this through a search on YouTube or Google or whatever, and for that reason, you don't worry about being spoiled about what we just played because it's not gonna really matter to you necessarily. However, if you plan on watching our campaign so far, we only have a session 0 and a 4-hour chapter 1. If you do want to get into our campaign, then just be aware we're going to be talking all about everything that happened in this video, this live stream right now. So massive spoiler warning coming up. I'll stop talking about it now. You've been warned. Thank you everyone for joining me, Jakob, Carmen, and Rasmus, and yeah, let's jump into it, shall we? Yeah, I guess the first thing to kind of talk about is I did want to actually see if I could flash the PDF up on the screen very quickly. Let me just see if it's going to work, because again, technical difficulties have eaten into my prep time for this. I'm sure it'll work. Just give me a sec. Boom. Hey, there we go. All right. So, as you can see on the character sheets here, we have this section called Memories on the right-hand side. That's something that after chapter 1, each of our characters are going to create a memory from the chapter, and these will be acting as, if you're familiar with Fate Core, they're kind of like aspects. It's a narrative, single, phrase or sentence that summarizes something interesting about that character during that chapter. And in future, so it basically, once that's on the character sheet, that can be evoked by the players as a sort of way to get a bonus once per session. And as the narrator, as the game master, I am able to also evoke those to potentially act as a hindrance for the players as well. So we'll be talking about that, how that all works in a second. The second thing to do, if I just show you here very quickly in the PDF, if I go to the saga chapter, the end of the saga chapter, page 199, if you have books and you want to follow at home in your book, we have this page that starts with character growth. Just before it on page 196 is where the advancement section starts. Experiences, we'll come back and talk about that. The second thing is that after chapter 1, so this is going into chapter 2, you get 2 skill points and 1 move. Going into chapter 3, each of the players will be getting 2 skill points plus 1 trait. Going into chapter 4, they'll get another move. Going into chapter 5, there'll be another trait. Then there's an epilogue that comes after that, and there's nothing that happens there. So basically, there's only 2 moves and 2 traits. Obviously, there are an additional 8 skills coming in as well. But those moves and traits are kind of they're like talents or feats. They're quite a powerful ways of kind of being able to manipulate the mechanics in a certain way for your own character. So I've asked each of the players to have a think about which move they might want to take. We'll talk about it as well. But basically, that's how advancement works. It happens between chapters, And if you've not caught on before, a chapter is not a session. Only the first chapter is. So the first chapter is a long scenario, which we've run through. And after that, each of chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5 consist of multiple paragraphs, each paragraph being effectively we're going to count them as a session. So like a 3 or 4 hour session. It could go longer, but basically it's like a scenario, however long that takes, 1 or 2 sessions usually. So if we go back very quickly, and I'll take this PDF down so you can see the lovely players' faces again in a second, just to show how the experiences work. There's 4 categories. There's an achievement, a scar, a bond, or a reputation. So that's these things here. And the idea is an achievement is something that you've learned about, or a lesson, something that you managed to achieve in the chapter. A scar is something that you've suffered that you want to, or that you learned about yourself. That's kind of something, traumatic. A bond is a bond that you've formed with somebody. It could either be a PC or an NPC. And a reputation is if you've, earned a reputation. So, jumping straight into spoiler territory, I've already said reputations don't make sense here because everything that happened, there were no witnesses. As far as you're aware, there are no witnesses that survived the events of Chapter 1. So reputation, there could be a reputation between yourselves, but the reputation is meant to be a bit of a broader thing. And that'll certainly be coming into play in future chapters as you start taking, more of a, being more involved with things that are happening in the house and the fragile piece. So I guess the first thing to do is to talk around the experiences, and I'll open the floor to the 3 of you. We don't have to do it in order. If you've got one that you've thought about before this session, jump in and tell us about it, and feel free to debate. If somebody thinks that they maybe can be reworded in a certain way, feel free to jump in. But it's meant to be a debate, a historian's debate. So, yeah, over to you. Oh, one sec. One sec. Your audio's not coming through. This is why it's good to have somebody live watching. She can't hear you. They're all saying thank you, Leah, in the chat. But yeah, let me just figure out why that's not working. Oh, man. You'd think the technical difficulties are finished, but they're not. I think it's because I have maybe... Let me check my sound settings in Windows. I wonder if that has to do with my headphones. Shouldn't do. Desktop audio. Let me just figure that out quickly. Can you all say something?
Yep. Test. Hello.
Okay, it's working now. I had to change the device. Okay. Sorry about that. So, Jakob was just explaining his idea. You're gonna have to repeat all that again, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. But hopefully, Leah said that the sound's back on. So,
all fantastic. Right. Great. All right. Thank you, Leah. So yeah, what I thought about for Humphrey were one memory for each kind of experience and memory, and I thought for an achievement it would be cool, Litha still can't outsneak me, so cause I rolled for Humphrey a very, very critical, I don't recall exactly how it's called, a very good success, and this could come in handy, especially if the relationship between the 2 characters evolves further, and something that I can always call back on, Litha is a skilled tracker, skilled hunter as well, but Well, there's one thing she can't. Two things actually. Come up to a certain place in time, and I'll sneak Humphrey. No, just kidding. So, yeah, this was my idea for an achievement. For a scar, um, let me just take a look how
Let me
I.
just pause you between each of these.
Yeah, sure,
So
sure.
if we think about it from a mechanical perspective,
Yeah.
when would you be evoking that? When you're sneaking potentially, I guess.
No, when someone else is trying to sneak on me, like Litha has a certain standard. She's a very good hunter. So maybe anyone whose sneaking skill is maybe below Litha or me, uh, that this should come in handy. Or if Litha is trying to sneak on me somehow.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So yeah. Um, for a scar, I thought about something. I wrote it out actually. So it is trust is a weak spot they'll use to hurt you. Since at the end of the last session, if you recall, Gwen took her contract with Humphrey to twist it, and basically she got him at the balls right now, right? Because of this tiny corner of the manuscript of Argo the bureaucrat's manuscript she was looking for. Didn't make it out of the collapsing outpost. Humphrey is still bound by word to her, and Humphrey sort of feels like played and betrayed, because it was just a very tiny corner, and his trust in Gwen is like severely severely damaged, and this could work well as a scar to make it a bit harder for him to bond with other characters, but also to give him some kind of more of a social awareness, basically. So he can't be. He is distrustful. He's not outright paranoid right now, because but my characters tend to be at some point in a campaign. Uh,
Okay. Good to know.
but yeah, oh yeah, you've got very easy game with me concerning that. But yeah, but this could be also a double-edged sword for me as well.
Okay.
And like my bond would I would I would not like to take a bond with Litha yet, because I really want to play into this conflict between the two.
Yeah.
Instead, I could imagine a bond with Santiago, and it's something like um, uh, I admire the careless freedom of Santiago the Fool, because I imagine it like Humphrey is a loner. He's relying all on himself, and he's very cautious, very repressing himself in many many forms, and this careless attitude, just jumping in the hole of Santiago, just uh, rushing into the scene, is
Yeah.
some kind of freedom that Humphrey secretly admires, secretly,
Sure.
and I could really imagine this being a cool way to bond
Well,
for the
even
two.
with you as a hunter, you have a rifle, so you're expecting. I mean, you have your heavy key skit, so you can like
Yeah,
chop people up if they get too close. But your whole thing is about killing people
caution.
from a distance or killing creatures from a distance. And so
Yeah,
yeah, seeing Santiago is like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
rushing in must have yeah could make a big impact on you. Yeah, that's a good one.
And he's such a
Mm-hmm.
bon vivant type of guy, right? He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
enjoying the life, and Humphrey's just basically running away a lot.
Humphrey's not.
Humphrey's definitely not, no.
We got a high five in the middle.
Yes, but with different hands in different directions.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay. And we
All
said
right, yeah.
reputation. Reputation is kind of. I'd prefer that to not try and even spend time thinking about that at the moment. Okay. Before you decide anything, those sound good. Yeah, yeah. I think from my perspective, probably the first or the third are going to be a bit easier to evoke from a narrator's perspective, but
Yeah.
they all work. So keep those in mind, because we're going to wait until we hear kind of the ideas from all three of you, and then we can maybe think about you each making your decision. So yeah, who wants to go next?
Should we go character wise? So I
However you
could
want.
go next.
If you you
Okay.
got one ready.
As an achievement, I wrote down for me scaring off a hungry spider. But I'm currently thinking about how I would evoke that in the game. Like, I don't feel it's right to kind of evoke an advantage every time I meet a spider.
Well, it could
So,
be theoretically if there was some sort of like fear. I can't remember if there was a fear test I had you do at the beginning. I think there was.
Oh.
yeah,
Oh.
there was.
That would be a good way where you could say like, actually, I've faced a spider before.
Yeah.
Remember, you can only evoke it once per session, so it's not like a thing that you can do over and over and over again. But absolutely, if you want to evoke it that one time for because you're facing another similar creature to try and not be scared by it, then that would be an example potentially.
Yes.
Or if someone's if you're in a social situation and somebody's bragging about having killed a spider all on their own, you suspect they're lying. Well, you could evoke that to say, I'm gonna like if you try and like cast shade on them somehow or prove that they're lying, you could evoke that to give you a bonus to your whatever social role you'd be making, something along those lines.
Yeah. That's.
It's harder for me to evoke that as a hindrance, but I could come up with ways, I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in some situations, she could get overly cocky that you could kind of kick in the shins.
Maybe. Yeah.
So,
Anything else?
So situations like that, maybe. Yeah, that is a good one.
I mean, just on the staying on the achievements, you did some pretty awesome stuff in that session at the end with with your gun.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a
But,
sharpshooting legend in the party at the moment, I imagine. Everyone's kind of
It
like,
is.
wow.
She certainly is. But I actually wanted to put the focus on narratively on the hunter aspect of
Yeah.
her.
Okay.
Because I have an idea for the scar, and that would be I killed people. Like
Oh.
she had. I think it wouldn't be natural for her, like scaring off bandits, fending off bandits, sure, but that would be in self-defense. And this time we went down, and especially after some people, and we hurt them, and we did our deeds. And
Yeah.
I made it very clear when the one fairy popped up from the door that she didn't dare to shoot him in the head. Humphrey did, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So I think that would be something she has to struggle with a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
From my perspective, because that's a really juicy one for me to evoke to hinder your character. It's a bit harder for you to evoke as a player, but I mean, well, yeah.
I mean, this is super cool for Carmen to evoke, right? Like, I kill people. I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess that's true. So anytime you're attacking a littling, then you could theoretically evoke it to be like, or like somebody says like, because you're kind of smaller than the other characters too, like shorter.
Very much.
So people might see you pointing a gun and kind of like scoff, like, "Oh, you're not going to shoot it." Like you never do that. You could be like, "Yeah," if you're trying to intimidate them or something.
Only one way to find it out,
Yeah,
darling.
yeah. There are definitely ways to provoke that. It's a really juicy one for me. I like that one from my side. Okay.
Yes.
And do you have?
Also what I thought.
Yeah.
And the bond she would actually take with Santiago because they two stood against the spider, and he gave her advantage by pointing out the weak spots.
Yeah.
So that would be like a reliable companion.
He was also the one to run in and distract it so you could shoot it from a distance. He was the meat shield.
Yes.
Carmen, that wasn't a dig at Humphrey, right? Reliable companion.
Yep.
Okay. Those are all good. Yeah. Okay, and Rasmus, have you got some ideas for Santiago?
Oh, I haven't thought this through as much, but the achievement would be, I think, either the jumping down.
Yeah.
That was fun, and it felt like him. But also, I perhaps would describe it as doing the perfect feint of the sword and the gun, which seems like a technique that would have been taught at the academy, and he did it. But I used an ace at the moment, so it felt like I didn't really do that in the game.
Well, I mean, the
Not
ace
just
is kind of like it's like an element of your character. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
It's more about
Mhm.
like if you did something cool, even if you like used meta currency to achieve it or anything like that, that's beside the point. If that's perfectly valid if you used your ace for it. So don't worry about that.
So I'm thinking about the fencing, the fight guards.
Yeah,
Uh,
the ones with the shields.
and it with the shields, and it ended very nicely. Also by Litha shooting them, and that's a nice covered way out of a fight, and I like that. Scar, we discussed this a bit before, but yeah, I was thinking about the contract part, but then feel like we're already getting terrible things from the contract not getting fulfilled. So maybe something around the fairies' racism and this ultra nationalist, well, also racist fairy organization. Something like I've seen a darker view of other people or of my people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that.
And like that's I think because they're like ultra nationalists or like they're racist basically, but while they kind of have this idea about fairy purity in a way. They particularly don't like the Slua. So for you, that's going to be maybe hit home a little bit more than it would for Humphrey or Litha, who are both Boggarts. Oh no, sorry, Humphrey, who's a Boggart, and Litha, who's a salamander. Gwen's a Boggart as well. I was just looking at the wrong character art under me. So yeah, I think that could be quite a good one, and I think that's probably going to be part of the history going forward. Is this this group that you came across, this ultranationalist group? So
I'm leaning more towards that, and the Bond felt like the fight with Spider with Litha was a moment where they collaborated more. But he also, I think, is a bit intrigued by Humphrey's, not saying a lot of things, and he wants to pick at that a bit, see what happens. But I'm gonna let that be a role playing thing instead.
Okay.
So it's a future Bond. I think it's gonna be funnier to do that.
Okay.
But
cool.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Scar.
Okay.
With meeting racism for proper racism, aggressive racism for the first time.
Okay. So bearing that in mind, Carmen and Jakob, do you have any thoughts on ones you might be leaning a bit more towards with having heard the others?
Oh, I would like to ask you what you think is the most interesting memory for Humphrey, because I like all of three of them equally. What do you think? What is your opinion on this?
I think, oh man.
Litha can't outsneak me. No one is to be trusted, and I secretly admire.
It's difficult for me because the scars. I like the scars the most because they seem to be. They're more phrased around, like character flaws in a way, or things that are a bit more personal to you as a character, kind of. And there isn't really anything on the character sheets, I don't believe, that are kind of couched as flaws, right? So for me, it's kind of a way. It's a bit easier for me to evoke those things as a narrator. And Santiago's going with one. I don't know, Carmen, which one you're going to go with, but I liked your Scar the best as well because
Me too.
yeah. And I'm not saying you have to come up with scars or anything, but for me, that's the kind of it seems to me like it's getting at the heart of your character a bit more than the other ones, which are a bit more like, here's this cool thing I did. And the bonds to me also, they're all fine. They're all fine. It's just the bonds to me are kind of like, I feel like we could be getting some better bonds in future sessions as you kind of are interacting a little bit more, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my feeling, but I kind of, it also feels a bit weird if I feel like I'm kind of talking you all into going more towards scars. It just seems like maybe this is your first time all together. Maybe it was a little bit more traumatic than you thought it would be, so you're all scarred by it. There were some really cool achievements though that you did as well. So I don't know. That's my feeling.
I would say Scars is also easier to role play for
Yeah.
at least for me, and I'm guessing for the other guys as well. Because that's more defining.
Yeah, it's more of a personality trait, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think I would personally also go with a Scar. Because like this is the first adventure as our group and also as players for us. So
Yeah.
I didn't expect this game to be this gritty. Personally, to be honest,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
expect that, and I like that it does. So I love characters with drawbacks and hindrances. So yes, I am going for the Scar totally.
Okay, awesome. Now, Jakob, don't feel pressured.
Yeah. I'm really.
If you'd rather be
thinking
more
about this.
sneaky, if you want to be more sneaky, like the achievement of I'm more sneaky than Litha, that works as well for sure. And your bond with Santiago will work too, absolutely. Yeah, I just whichever one you feel the most drawn to, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I just
Yeah.
say, Jakob, admiring Santiago from afar would boost Santiago's ego even more. He thinks everybody is admiring him, so that's gonna be bad for me, good for you.
Because you're famous for going to school.
Yeah. Because I think this is also something I would like to role play. Little bit more in role playing, and then gaining a bond of that. Because I think there's a really cool dynamic between the two. Pardon?
I think for me the relationship is probably the bond is probably better mechanically when it's attached to an NPC, because I don't normally have you guys roll skills against each other. Like that's for me that's where the role play gold is, right? When you are interacting with each other, and just because the mechanical side of the experience is that you can get a help to a roll. That's going to be much more of a thing if it's tied to an NPC. I didn't mention that before in the chat. I know you all came up with relationships that were tied to each other, but this could be a good one for you with your like a bond with Gwen, for example. Like you could totally take that element of her manipulating you to make a bond specific about Gwen. And Gwen is going to be I've told you this before, this isn't like spoiling anything for anyone. Gwen is going to be a recurring NPC throughout this campaign, so there's going to be lots of opportunities for your like kind of negative feelings towards her to come into play as well. And there would be roles with you interacting with her at certain points because she's an NPC. Although there would be roleplay as well, but there would, I just want to throw that out there because I know people. There might even be rules for it, but I'm not the kind of person who tries to get people to, like, if you're trying to lie to another player character, to have you roll to see if they believe you or if you're successful at lying to them. It just feels very very awkward and artificial. So that's
question there.
something to take into account.
Don't have to be positive, right?
The bonds do not have to be positive. No, I don't think so.
I think I went into this thinking that it's a positive bond, but it could also be negative.
Yeah, but it says you made a friend, a lover, or an enemy. So it's kind of couched in a way where it can be any kind of bond that you can think of. So it doesn't have to be positive for sure.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, because Humphrey already has a scar from the beginning, from the get-go. Like, my heart was broken. This is his scar, and quite a defining trait for him for not easily trusting people or not easily gaining bonds with other persons, with other litlings. So putting a second scar on top of that's just amplifying this. I don't know.
It might be. It's making you more of a tragic figure for sure. So maybe it's not the best idea. Yeah.
I think it's okay that you draw the edgelord through the mud somehow. Like it's okay if this character is going to struggle a bit, but I think it's repeating the first scar, just like a little bit amplified, and maybe the achievement Litha still can't outsneak me is an advantage. Okay, fair. I'm a little bit more cautious, and I can recognize stuff a little bit better, maybe. But it also is between the characters. I think I would go for the achievement this time,
Okay.
and he will not be trusting anyone nonetheless.
But it could also be a downside. Oh, yeah, I don't need to worry about Litha. She can't outsneak.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Letting my guard down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overconfidence for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
just gonna quickly show on the screen here the character sheets, because you did just remind me that all of the characters. So let's actually start with Humphrey's character sheet. Under the memories, under prologue, there is one there already, and these were kind of predefined as a pre-gen. As pre-gen characters, and My Heart Was Broken is a scar. For Litha, we have I Can Do It On My Own, which was an achievement. And for Santiago, I'm Don Ramiro Villar's heir, which is reputation. So you kind of, I think that's a kind of a nice idea to not double up on the types of memories to start, because you've got now 2 that you can call on. I totally forgot about them in the first chapter, that you could have used them potentially. I mean, Litha could have used the I Can Do It On My Own with the spider potentially. Said like, I'll go after it on my own. You go. Everyone else goes somewhere else, and potentially could have had a bonus there.
Having help is also very nice.
Yeah. That would have gone very differently if you were on your own, even with a slight bonus.
Oh yes.
But I on the flip side, I also didn't evoke any as hindrances, so I think we're kind of okay there. So yeah, and I think also not throwing too many mechanics into the first session is always nothing to be sniffed at, because you need to ease yourself into a new system. So anyway, good. All right. So I think we're all sorted then, with everyone's decided on the ones they want to go with. Yeah, Jakob?
May I suppose something how we do with experiences in the further chapters? Because I made an experience in another group where I was a player at, where you could nominate another player for like fate points when they did something very clever or very daring or very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that would be cool if we could nominate each other, or maybe even ourselves, I don't know, for experiences. Like, this was cool that Litha shot those the oil lamp above her head and set her on fire. Could she get an experience for that? Because experiences only last for the chapter, right?
No.
No, the memories are for the whole campaign. The experiences only last for the chapter.
Experiences just fade.
And in the end, we choose one of our experiences that stays as a memory, while the others are.
Yeah, that's also how I understood it.
You're absolutely right. So they're held in the okay. Yeah, that's something I kind of missed the subtlety of. Okay, absolutely. It's also worth bearing in mind that aces and jokers are also something that can also be suggested by the players as well. So if I'm head in my prep, might miss out on a potential like perfect opportunity for an ace to be granted, then pipe up, let me know as well. But yeah, absolutely, experiences like bearing in mind the 4 different categories we've got there. If some come up, for sure, mention them. And I did actually, I kind of misread that a little bit. So you come up with experiences during a chapter, and if you don't come up with one during a chapter, that's where this historian's debate is after the chapter's finished, where you kind of say, okay, let's look back on it and think and see what memory I've pulled out of that. But yeah, you can use those temporarily in the chapter and then pull one of them out as a lasting memory. So you kind of have like these short-term and long-term memories almost, right? Yeah.
Also,
okay.
a cool
Perfect,
thing for the chat to interact with us, right?
Yeah.
Like our viewers could also write, hey, this would be a cool experience for Litha, for Santiago, or something like this.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yep. I might mention that at the start of future streams as well. That if anyone in the chat has any suggestions for good experiences, to drop them in. Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. Yeah, as Leah said in the chat, it's a cool mechanic, and I totally agree. I wasn't even I kind of skimmed maybe over that bit and didn't get the subtleties of it fully, and that does make it even cooler.
And I like the
yeah.
mechanic of being nominated for them as
I think
Jacob says. That's
yeah, I think we don't need to formalize that too much. I think it's just something for everyone to kind of keep in mind, like. If someone's done something that is worthy of an experience, then by all means mention it, and we'll get it jotted down. And just to clarify, okay, all the experiences can be called into play, and no more than once per session. So bearing in mind that a chapter runs for going forward now from our next session, each chapter is going to be at least two kind of scenarios or sessions long. That means the experiences will stick in place for multiple sessions too.
Mm-hmm.
But they can only be used once per paragraph per session. So something to kind of keep in mind. And then as the chapter ends, those that don't get carried forward as a memory disappear. And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the bit there on the character sheet for experiences under the memories too. So it's all catered for. It's all catered for here in our character sheet too, of course. So perfect. Okay. Let's move on to the next one, because I'm just looking at the time. We're just over the halfway mark, but that was the big one I think that needed a lot of discussion. So if we jump into the next section of this debate, which is looking at your skills and your moves, I guess let's start. Have you all thought about it? About which ones you want to take? So why don't you propose? I'm going to flash up on the screen when you're talking your character sheet, so we can have a look at them, and we'll start with how you're visible to the viewers from me going across. So we'll be doing Jakob, then Carmen, then Rasmus. And if anyone is wondering why I have them in that order, I never know how to order people in my groups. So I always go with I generally always go with alphabetical character name order, which is why it's HLS. That way it's very impartial. No one can say like, why am I the last one, or why am I not the first one? I'm the most important in this campaign.
I want to be Mr. Pink.
So yeah, Jakob.
All right.
Let's get your character sheet up on the screen here.
Okay.
And I've got your stats over on the left. So we've got 20 skills to choose from, and they go up to 4. So you can't go higher than that. So what are you thinking?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to power game now, but I think after Humphrey shot this guard in the head that peeked his head outside of the hole, I think this would legitimate skilling shoot. On the other hand, caution and authority maybe, because especially authority, he very much supported Santiago and Litha, frightening, menacing the guards that were down the hole to drop their weapons and get tied up. Okay. Yeah, I think the Juggernaut did not have that much of an impact as I thought it would in the fight against the bodyguards of Juju. Nonetheless, that would be maybe an experience like in the final act. Yeah, so authority, fight, caution, and shoot are my favorites right now.
Which two are you gonna choose then?
Yes. I think I would go with caution and and probably shoot.
Okay, I'll do it on your character sheet. There's this like black bar with a down arrow. If you click and hold on it, you kind of choose the. Oh, you've done it. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah. Caution and shoot, and the move.
Yeah, the move. Humphrey's move is already fast reload. I already got this. Hopefully next time we're playing with reloading your guns. And I thought about take cover, because this allows me to allow me either myself or a friend to hide quickly, or I or a friend can automatically dodge some bullets and attack or remove of a creature from a certain size upwards. So I think that's really cool. Also gives me a bit more interaction with the other characters.
Oh yeah,
And
that's a really good point. Yeah.
yes, and the other thing was slay, cause maybe Humphrey's a little bit more of the monster hunter,
Yeah.
and this would give him a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
more punch for the big critters.
Just
But
bear in mind with the second action roll, you might be a bit limited with reloading because we're going to be introducing reloading rules
yes,
from the next
yes,
one. So kind of
yes.
like shooting twice in a row, unless you end up getting two key sets, then that would absolutely be.
Or I got quick reload.
Or you've got fast reload, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would delay this decision because we got another hunter in our group, and I would maybe exchange with Carmen what she thinks about her moves for Litha, and maybe I then decide between the two options.
I
Yeah.
think we are a bit frozen.
Yep.
Oh, we're frozen.
You're not frozen in the video in my video, but you're frozen in this other thing. So give me a second. Let me
Yeah.
just
Yeah, in the stream.
Let it
I
go.
feel
hold on.
like.
Hold on a second.
Let it go.
There you go.
Go.
All right. Just had to turn you on and off again. Typical
okay.
typical IT repair. All right.
All right. So
Okay.
So which one you're going with? You're going with which one?
I'm torn between take cover and slay, and I would wait what Carmen thinks about her move
Okay.
because Litha is also a
Sure.
huntress, and then I'll decide.
That way you're kind of
after you heard Carmen's thoughts.
yeah. All right. So Carmen, what are your thoughts? I guess let's look at your character sheet first. Let me get that on the screen.
All right.
And yeah.
Of course, I would put some point in shoot because I did that repeatedly and very well. So
Yeah.
And also I was very elusive.
Yeah,
I
you were.
dodged like everything. So I would go there too. That would be my two where I spent the points.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, illusion and shoot. So those go up to 4.
Yeah. If you click on the black box with down arrow on each of them, just choose 4.
Do you want to do
Shit.
it or shall I do it?
I can do it if you don't
Okay.
want to. Yep. I'll just do
Oh,
that. then.
I can. I have it open, but
Done.
you are showing off all the players. So.
Yeah. And moves. Did you have any? So you have sharp eye
Moves.
already.
Yeah, I already have sharp eye. I am torn between take cover, precision shot, and quick reaction.
Oh.
Precision shot, I don't know, it kind of leans into what I already have as a trait. It's kind of the same, but with ignoring conditions.
Yeah.
So I would kind of
The trait there is the sharpshooter where you get a free reroll
Exactly.
anytime you're firing your weapon. But bear in mind that these are evoked by using aces, right? So
Yes.
they're yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense. So I would go in between, taking cover and quick reaction. And I feel like, I mean, she is pretty social, but I feel like she would go for a quick reaction, I think.
Yeah.
Personally.
I think it's worth bearing in mind that for myself, it certainly feels this way. I didn't really mention this before, but the skills and the moves, in my opinion, should be based on the experiences you just had,
Yes.
which it sounds like we're doing anyway. So rather than saying like, oh, I'm a bit low on here and I'd rather be a bit more of a social character, so let's put, I don't know, some random skill up, culture, when that wasn't a part of the scenario would be, maybe I'd be kind of trying to dissuade you from that. But this is all good. So which one you're going with more of the which one
I think I would go with quick reaction, like avoiding
Quick
an ambush
reaction.
and avoiding a surprise.
Then
Yep,
I'm
so-
going for take cover, concerning that I'm also responsible for Gwen getting to her destination in one piece.
Okay.
It would be good if Humphrey is looking out for the safety of the crew, basically, a little bit more.
Yep. I like that. So go ahead under your moves, where there's this drop down. You can just select the correct one, and it automatically puts all the details and everything, which is super handy.
Fabulous.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Rasmus.
Yeah,
What are you
one
thinking for
question?
Santiago? Oh yeah.
One request could be just present a little bit our moves we already have, so we could keep that in mind for our viewers and for ourselves as well.
Yeah, do it, like go back and do that, or for yours?
No, just now from now on. So
Okay,
what
yeah,
can we do already? So
yep. But let's start with the skills
Yep.
then for Santiago. Which are there two that you
it's
specifically?
it's I'm leaning on the fight scene again, and I really like the duality of lancetta and pistol. So I'm thinking either fight or shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 shooters, so perhaps fight is a good base to put it on. But that's going to be my last point in fight then.
Yeah, and the second one?
And then the second one, I'm debating. I could actually want to hear you guys. Will, I've done cool things. I'm a cool person.
yeah.
It's building his ego a bit. He's not scared of stuff and stuff like that, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or and also a bit of that. I've seen that a bit more social, than fighting. That would be nice. Yeah, and the other, I'm leaning towards those 2. So
I think the other
Will.
The other one to think about is authority, because you kind of when you jump down that hole, you did kind of intimidate the other one, the ones that were down there into surrendering. So that could be another good choice for your side. Whichever, just throwing it out there. That could be a good one. But I think Will fits because you were very courageous, like both against the spider and about jumping into the hole when you knew you didn't know what was down there. That maybe fits perhaps a little bit more for your character.
One idea would maybe Grace, because you've got all that swashbuckling swagger and style, and like a more stylish counterpart to authority. Like you're just impressing and persuading everyone that you are the powerful swashbuckler hero. They are 10 to 1. Yeah. Why would they fight against the one who goes against 10 other, right? Like this swagger, this style, this power of stories and narration. I think this would also fit, especially combined with the fact you jumped down the hole and then immediately made this Jack Sparrow-esque
didn't hurt
entrance
yourself
fight,
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes.
I think we shouldn't forget where those skills are based in, and Grace is based in society.
Yeah,
that's okay though,
so
because they could be the skills can be evoked. I can call for a skill and tie it to a different domain rather than the base one. But that is worth pointing
I
out.
think kind of it would more be dexterity based in this point.
Yeah.
Being acrobatic swashbuckling thingy.
That is like the description for Grace does mention keeping your balance, performing feats of acrobatics, or making extremely accurate moves that require the utmost precision. So that kind of does, and I mean, you do have 3 points in it, Rasmus. So Santiago is already graceful. Whereas it depends on, so it's kind of like if you want to get a bit meta about it and be like, do you want to be a bit more like push a skill towards a certain way? Do you want to be a bit more of a jack of all trades and try and lift some other ones up? I don't really mind people thinking like that for your own character, but I think that would work. I mean, they all work. All those ideas work for me. I don't have any issues.
Yeah, it's going to be fight, and I like the Grace idea.
Okay.
I'm going to push myself even more graceful.
That might come in handy in future sessions if we're having a bit more social stuff coming up too. So
that's also good.
Like
counterweighing, the slow and not very educated, and then going to I can at least be graceful. I'd like that.
Yeah. You need to. It's not letting me do your skill points because you have to put a memory into. There's all these calculations that go into the spreadsheet, and it won't let you have a free skill to spend until you put a memory in chapter 1.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that. You can do that offline. We don't have to wait for that on the thing here. But if we jump down then to your moves, your current move is Bravado, which is dodging bullets, pulling off dangerous stunts, avoiding the consequences of fall, or leaving a combat without having to roll the dice. Now, this is what you used to land on your feet at the bottom of the well, or the not the well, the shaft. So, what's your idea for a second move?
I'm looking at feint that repeat a single action roll against a littling opponent, and you have +1 to roll. But riposte is also good. That is, you can react against opponent.
Interesting.
A riposte seems fun.
Yeah, that is a kind of a fun little one there.
Yeah, and it's also way back when I did fencing for real. The riposte move was my favorite. So
okay,
let's go riposte just for nostalgia.
I mean, the way I read that, the riposte isn't just you. Like, it doesn't mean that you're whipping your lancetta out and kind of like stabbing somebody. It's you coming up with a clever riposte in speech and social situations. Yeah, and you're using your fight there. Okay, that's that's a pretty cool one. That's a pretty cool.
I'm gonna
It is because it is a very powerful one because you can replace any skill and you get a +1 to your fight. And of course, for duelists, you're assuming they're going to be all high in fight anyway. You do notice that it only has a single suit tied to it, which means, whereas the other ones that have 2 suits, it means okay, as long as I've got my spade or my club, I can evoke it with one of them. This one's kind of a bit more limited, so just to bear that in mind. But yeah.
Well, I just like the story of it, and I'm gonna burn those aces anyway. So yeah.
Okay. So so basically, go ahead and add it to your character sheet under moves on the left-hand side, where the next one is. It should show up as one of the available ones. Yeah, and then as we said before, okay, now that you've started writing something in chapter 1, it should unlock. Still not doing it. Why is it not doing it? I'll have to look at why it's not unlocking that. We'll figure out. I can always overwrite this. And I can always just put in unspent skill points 2 like that, and then it should let me. And it's still not let me do it. If R20. Okay, I'll have to look into what's going on here. Something's gone wrong with it.
It works on fight. Perhaps I'm not allowed to have a higher value in society or something like that. Is that a rule?
Oh, maybe.
Let's solve that afterwards.
We'll figure it out in a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna undo the bits I did here, so I'm not messing around with. Okay, so go. Yep, fight's up now. Okay. Yep. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add in the comments if we figure out what went wrong there, why the grace was not allowed to go up. There's probably a little rule in the rule book that I haven't really noticed, because at this moment I've not been really paying much attention to the advancement rules, which is probably buried in the skill section, about why that's happening. I'll mention it in the comments below after we finish recording, just so people are aware of what, about it. Cool. And looking at the clock, we're just under an hour. So hey, that worked pretty well. If we didn't have the IT problems there, we'll maybe shave a few more minutes off. Yeah. Thanks very much. I'm very much looking forward to the next session, which is next Monday, next week. So from the time of this live stream. So we're going to be jumping back in. There's going to be a long period of time, a period of probably months after the events of chapter 1. So there'll be things that'll progress a little bit. We'll jump straight in with both feet. So if you haven't seen our chapter 1 episode yet, then you can find a link to it in the description of this video. But make sure you watch the session 0 first if you're coming to this fresh, because that's where we introduce the characters and we hit the ground running with chapter 1. So thanks very much, everyone. Thanks very much, all of you lovely players, and we'll see you all in a week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.
Get safe into the new year, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Get safe into the
Yeah, we're a day before New Year's Eve, so that's true. Yeah. So yeah, happy New Year to all of you as well. And yeah, Happy New Year to all our watchers. Assuming you're watching this in time. Otherwise, I hope your New Year starts really well. And yeah, we'll catch you all in a week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.